before anyone asked, yes, I'm well aware I'm jumping on a bandwagon here, but I don't know, I just kind of felt like I had to do something on my own channel right now since I haven't done a video in a while, so. And I do respect RandomDCE. I think he makes some pretty good videos, but I'm just taking a crack at one of his old handy-dandy guides, and surprisingly, I haven't seen anybody take a shot at his Digimon guide. But without further ado, let's begin, because I see some big flaws with this video.
No, I'm not going to put up with that. I've made 2 handy-dandy guides on fixing 2 animes in the popular circle.
Granted, Digimon is sort of well known, but it's nowhere as big as Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z, so I wouldn't really consider it popular, especially not at this point, since there are barely any new seasons of it anymore, despite, recently there was the 5th one known as Sabers. But, let's continue on.
And I'm happy to report no large amounts of hate speeches from an army of fanboys.
I'm gonna get that after this video's done. And no, I'm not one of those noobs who thinks a popular ranter or whatever has a big flaw of having fanboys, because that's really unavoidable.
Maybe this is a sign that I'm onto something here. Perhaps people are fed up with popular forms of animation and need...
Well, DC, just because it's popular doesn't mean it's bad. And there's only, like, people who are fed up, and there's also people who don't even care whatever's popular.
Some form of change. Maybe I should venture forth into other popular things like movies and video games. Or perhaps I shouldn't get ahead of myself. So for the time being, I'll stick with what I've got. Now, in my Pokemon guide, someone said I should have a pop at the Digimon cartoon, and having only watched the first 4 seasons before giving up on it, I'm happy to oblige.
You basically said right there that you watched the first 4 seasons, which there are 5 seasons of Digimon, and it's not constant every year like Pokemon is. And, pretty much, you basically said you've watched most of the series there.
I've heard the series has gotten better, but I'm only going to focus on the first 4 seasons, ranging from Devimon.
Do I have to repeat myself and say that you're basically talking about the whole series except for Sabers?
To Elvis Presley. For anyone not in the know of popular anime, allow me to explain this. Digimon is in turn a rip-off invented to challenge the success of the Tamagotchi toys but with fighting. And keeping in theme with that, the anime was only made to challenge the Pokemon juggernaut, thankfully not acted by Vinnie Jones. But I've always found a problem with this. It's usually a bad thing to challenge death to replace something godly with something shit. No, I'm not jumping into the Poke-Digi Civil War, I couldn't care less, so while I sit on my fence, I offer my 3rd handy-dandy guide on making Digimon watchable, enjoyable, and complaint-free.
And let's see how this turns out from here.
Step 1. While I applaud this clone for avoiding the same plot as Pokemon...
So you can't really call it a clone when you say it avoids the same plot as the other show. Otherwise, you're just making it a really bad point right there. Now, if it were like truly a clone, it would do the same exact stuff, like an egotistical little kid wants to collect all the Pokemon or whatever, and tries to get gym badges to become a master, which Digimon does not do. And for example, I'll give you an example of a real clone, like Duel Masters, which was indeed a ripoff of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was a quite obvious one too.
I must object to the one it's got. 7 or so kids with pet monsters who can transform is fine by me, but the way it all plays out is like a bad episode of Knight Rider. All I ask is for fight scenes and kicking some overly cute ass. Save learning life lessons to G.I. Joe and the Transformers, because for some reason, that works.
Can you explain how Digimon does it wrong, please? Thank you.
Step 2. I have a real issue with this theme the first 4 seasons had, in which they spend an entire season learning how to use some great power. Then the next season begins and they swap it out for something else. I commonly refer to this as Power Ranger syndrome. I'm perfectly happy with one transformation, unless you're a triple changer or a combiner, because those kick ass.
Hey, come on, most of their transformations are cool.
But what would happen if this trend catched on? Picture the Hulk upgrading to Grey Hulk, then Metal Grey Hulk, then Skull Grey Hulk, then finally, after getting the key to the universe, he becomes the Ultimate War Grey Hulk. Not to be confused with the Marvel Ultimate series, because that's just a cheap way to get the kiddies interested. That kind of nonsense needs to stop. I'm afraid to watch Digimon now. They might be up to Hyper Ultra Warlord Supreme War Greymon X. Step 3. I don't have an issue with human characters provided they're nothing like these emotionally driven little sods. There seems to be a theme in kids' animation where no matter how awesome a non-human character is, their human friend is completely annoying and retarded.
You're forgetting the human characters in this show actually play a pretty big role here, because if they don't have their human partners, they can't really transform, because they're the ones that transform them, from what I see. Also, it's better than Frontier, where the humans are the Digimon.
Maybe have some humans that behave like humans, not single-minded robots in funny clothes. Let me put it this way. If an anthropomorphic alien creature appeared out of nowhere, your first instant reaction is not to be friends with it. You'd most likely be afraid and try and kill it. Or sleep with it. Depending on what floats your boat. Step 4. That theme song. You know what I mean. It's horrible.
And there, I can obviously tell that you've only watched the terrible English dub. It's hypocritical coming from me, because I'm usually against these guys who are, "Oh, fuck the dub, subs are better, bitches!" kind of guys. But, in Digimon's case, well, the company Saban was practically the 4Kids back in the day. But except they had some good things about them. Also, taking points off Digimon over the theme song the English version has is like taking points off One Piece, the show itself, for its 4Kids rap opening, and I am well aware that that dub is long extinct.
Horrible. I offer an alternative. It could work. Step 5. Let's talk voices. Highly hypocritical for me after my anti-Sonic fanboy rant, but this one needs some work. All I'm asking is nothing major. The animals don't talk. When these furries talk makes me praise Pokemon for talking utter bollocks.
I can tolerate it better than Pikachu! Pikachu! But then again, what do you expect? Both of them are targeted towards kids.
I don't care how fucked up the storyline is, no child should have to put up with voice acting like this. It sure is a fun day today! Yeah, I really like it out today! Any animal who talks like this should be penciled in for a visit to Rolf Harris's Animal Hospital.
Then again, they obviously sound different in the Japanese version, don't they?
Oh, and finally, the name. It practically invites hatred from the Poke tribe. We've already got one Mon in this business, we don't need a second one.
It's just a name. Mine only means monster.
The second one. How about this, keeping in mind with the changes I've made? Animal Warzone. It's got sex appeal, I like it, and anything with war in the title is awesome. But there are still a few exceptions. And with that, I take settle in my bomb shelter. Good night, and good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a big example of why DCE stopped doing handy-dandy guides. Well, I'm done here. I'm gonna go out now. See you.